welcome to Local Comedy Project. I'm your host, Marcus T. And the Local Comedy Project is where we bring all the area's local comedians, not only for interviews, but we're going to play some of their best video clips of their comedy. So it's going to be a really great show. On today's show, we've got Tim Collins, we got Jason Robbins, we got Homer Shadowheart, and we have Ray Price. And we're going to wrap it up with one of the oldest comedians in the area, and that'll be Larry Love. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a really funny Irishman. His name is Tim Collins. Check out the clip.
All right, it's great to be here at the Bourbon House. I think it's going to be a great year. Got a new girlfriend this year. Yeah, no, not too much applause. My wife's not really happy about the whole thing. I know a lot of entertainers get up on stage and say how great it is to be here, but at home I've got a wife, 2 dogs, and 4 children. So believe me, it is great to be here. Oh, man, my kids are 2, 4, 6, and 8. Yeah, what do I appreciate? Booze. Lots and lots of booze. I do love the kids, though. I love the kids. I volunteer at my son's preschool. I'm in charge of this year's school production. Pretty excited about that. We're doing the producers. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. That's right. A lot harder to get a 3-year-old to goose step than you would imagine, but I think it's going to work out all right. Oh, no. A lot of people have asked me, is it hard to raise 4 kids? And, you know, it really isn't. And I've got 2 words for you. Crate training. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. They already got leashes for kids. I took just took the next logical step, really, you know. Besides, they don't mind them so much. It's the invisible fence they're really not fond of. That's terrible. Terrible. I wouldn't want them getting out of the yard. A lot of sickos out there, you know. I do have some kids. I have a lovely daughter. She's great. She's so cute. When she was 2, she called everything by what it did or the sound it made. You know, like a rabbit was a hop hop and a cow was a moo moo. And whenever I walked in the room, she said, hello. Yeah. Oh, she's cute. She's at that age now where everything she hears about she wants to be. You know, like the other day, she's like, Daddy, I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. I'm like, oh, that's great, sweetie. Yeah. But the other day, she nearly broke my heart. You know, I came home, she said, Daddy, you know what I want to be when I grow up? I said, what, honey? She said, a prostitute. I said, oh, thank goodness. I thought you were going to say telemarketer. Whew. Close one. Yeah. But for a guy, the hardest part about having a daughter is doing her hair. I don't know, does anybody have kids out there? I don't. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, do you have a daughter? Oh, see? Yeah, doing her hair for a guy, it's impossible. Because my wife does this cute little ponytail on the side of her head, looks great, you know? But as a guy, I never realized how precise you had to be with the placement of the ponytail on the side of the head. Yeah, right? Right? Because too far back, she's like a moron. Okay, you know? And too far forward, prostitute, right? Yeah, I was getting ready for school one day. I bring her downstairs. The first thing my wife says, it's too far forward. So what can I say? She's living her dream. Besides, I dressed her in red fishnet hose. And so, no. So then I'm bringing the little tramp to school, and that's terrible. She's not old enough for school. I just got her working the corner in front of it. Terrible, terrible. My wife and I were putting our Barbies away one time, and my wife looks over at me, she says, hey, you know, you remind me a lot of Ken. And I thought to myself, I still got it, you know, that doll's kind of a stud, you know? Then I really thought about, hey, he's not even anatomically correct. She said, exactly. It's unfortunate. Probably would help if I lost a little weight, but let's face it, I'm getting old, and I've let myself go. Yeah, about the only exercise I get these days is bending over to get another beer out of the fridge. And I know I'm getting old, too, because a nose hair trimmer is starting to sound like a good investment. Yeah. Oh, it's terrible getting old. It's terrible. I need all these creams and ointments now. Oh, last week was awful. I got my natural male enhancement cream and my Preparation H mixed up. Yeah. I don't know if any of you have ever had a naturally male-enhanced rear end. Let me tell you. Stuff doesn't work too well in the front, but it's like a miracle drug out back. Holy smokes. I was walking around the house, looked like a baboon in heat. Butts turned inside out. Didn't help the hemorrhoids any either, tell you that. Oh, it's terrible. I'm actually in a mixed marriage. I'm Irish and my wife doesn't drink. She said I'm using alcohol as a crutch. I said a crutch, please. It's more like a wheelchair, really. I think it's a bad rap, though, Irish Catholics get that we drink all the time, you know? Like me, come on, I don't drink every morning. Sundays I wait till I get to church. I think Jesus was Irish, you know? You figure what, he was 30, living at home. His own mother said she was a virgin, and his first miracle was an open bar at a wedding. Oh, hey, speaking of that, what's the difference between an Irish wedding and an Irish funeral? One less drunk. Comedy. Oh, I'm from a big family myself. My parents had always wanted a lot of kids, they said 5, and I was number 6. I'll tell you how that went for me. I had 2 brothers, 3 sisters, and then whoops. Yeah, so they'd given away all my brother's stuff. I got my sister's hand-me-downs. Oh, don't feel bad for me, Burlington, because I can wear a pair of clogs and gauchos. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Did put me very in touch with my feminine side, though. My buddies would be like, hey, Tim, you think Sally likes me? I'd say, I don't know, what's your favorite color? Green? G-R-E-E-N. You girls know exactly what I'm talking about, too, don't you? Oh. But people think being the last of 6 kids, I was spoiled, like the little kid spoiled all the time. Does anybody think that's true? Because it's not. Man, I never got anything new. Like that G.I. Joe I got for Christmas. It was a Barbie with the hair cut off and the chest filed down. You talk about don't ask, don't tell. Man, that doll couldn't fight, but his tent looked fabulous. Oh, I love that doll, though, I did. Until my brother cut most of his hair off. Oh, I didn't think I'd know, because he cleverly colored it back in with a red magic marker. That was nice. You tell me that's not going to scar a kid when your favorite toy's a transgender G.I. Joe with premature male pattern baldness and the heartbreak of psoriasis. Hey, thanks very much. I'm Tim Collins. You enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey, did you enjoy that clip? That was really good. That was Tim Collins, a very funny Irishman. In fact, we have Tim in the studio right now. How's it going, Tim?
Oh, I'm sorry. These lights are fabulous. I was just getting a little tan. I am Irish. I'm a little chalky. Chalky is, I guess, the best word for it.
So I know that we've met, I think, in 2005, but you've been doing comedy before then, right?
For a long time, yeah. I've been doing comedy since the early 90s. I started down in Florida. Did it down there for a year or so, moved up to New York City, did it there, and I've been all coast to coast, and I just love it.
So you were like in the military too, doing
Coast Guard? Yeah, I was a Coast Guard man, and I started when I was in the Coast Guard, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Good, good. So tell me, are there not enough funny Irish jokes or what?
There's enough funny Irish jokes, you know, some of them you can't do on television. No, it's great. It's great.
So what, are there any other funny Irishmen that you've modeled your comedy after? Or?
The funniest man I know is my dad, and unfortunately he passed away, but he was the funniest guy I know. My whole family's funny. A lot of people don't like going to family reunions, but I do, because it's the only place I can feel, I guess, tall, good-looking, and sober, I guess, is about the size of it.
Great, great, great. Well, Tim, thanks for being on the Local Comedy Project.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Marcus.
And I look forward to seeing you on the stage somewhere soon.
I do, too. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. All right. Hey, right now we're going to take a little break, but we're going to come back with another comedian. This guy is really, really funny, Jason Robbins. See you soon. Project, where we're working hard to make you laugh. Right now, we're going to play a clip from this one gentleman. He's really, really funny, one of the young comedians that's up and coming, and he has a very, very diverse background. So let's check out Jason Robbins.
Native Americans, at least they got reservations. I'm Appalachian. All we got's trailer parks and jails. I don't know. When I was born, my wristband said, "Do not add alcohol." I'm allergic to alcohol. Every time I drink that stuff, I break out in handcuffs. I don't know. It's horrible. My family doesn't drink well. We got the yellow license plates to prove it. We just don't have a car to put it on. I don't know. I just ended a 9-year relationship with Satan's sister. Marriage is supposed to be a sacred institution. I've been in a lot of institutions, and that was the worst. It's the only one I ever got raped in. My wife went on a diet right after we got married. Maybe you've heard of it. The Snatkins diet. Apparently it's a high-fat, low-sex, no-work diet. Kicked in right after I said I do. Yeah, went to bed with Miss America, woke up 3 years later with the Michelin chick. Yeah, there wasn't no road hazard warranty on that. I don't know. What's going on? Where's my poor people out there? Yeah, bad credit people. Yeah, I remember when I had good credit, 4 bushels ago. Yeah, I don't even pay my bills till they come in colored envelopes. Yellow with red writing, you're going to want to get on that immediately. You'll be brushing your teeth with milk in the morning. Yeah. I don't know. I got turned down by rent-own. I said, "Sir, you don't qualify for same-day cash." I don't know. My brother's doing really good. He just sent home a certificate from jail. Yeah. He blew the curve on his GED in there. My mom and dad are like really proud, like, "Look at that." I'm like, "Man, you should Elmer glue that to his Crayola resume and get that right over to Fisher-Price." Looking for an engineer in the Lego department over there. I don't know. My family's riddled with drugs and alcohol. Probably the happiest day of my family's life is when Walmart announced $4 prescription day. Man. My brother asked for work release that day. Probably shouldn't stutter in the middle of a joke. It always screws it up. Yep. Got that cotton mouth, you know what I mean? My boss asked me, he said, "Is everything a joke to you?" I said, "No, I take them piss tests pretty serious." Gotta study hard for those. We got one guy that stays clean for 3 months. He's our designated pisser. I don't know. You guys are a great crowd, man. Give it up for yourselves, man. This is awesome. I don't know what else is going on in the world. We got Obama, elections. It's been colder than hell outside. I know that, man. My heating bill's more than my house payment. I haven't paid either one of them. You got to open up the refrigerator to get warm in my house. Got the whole family living there. My dad lost his house. I'm filing bankruptcy. It's like the Alamo down there. Fighting off the Mexicans, only the Mexicans are my family. horrible. I don't know. Where are we going to go here? I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of clean stuff. It's not easy for me, you know what I mean? I'm an ex-crackhead and a convicted felon. Come on, man. You ever notice how religious you get right before you crap your pants? Start promising God all kinds of crazy stuff, but it never works, does it? I'm Jason Robbins. That's my time. You guys been awesome. Thanks.
Hey, welcome back to Local Comedy Project. That was Jason Robbins. That guy is a very, very fantastic comedian, very diverse background. In fact, right now with me, I have Jason. What's going on, man?
Not much. Good to see you, Marcus.
Good seeing you, too. So all this stuff you talk about in your routine, is that true, or are you making that stuff up?
That's all based on the truth. I don't know. I got into drugs and alcohol at a young age, and I'd like to say I did something criminally that made me some money, or I wanted to be like Scarface, but it didn't turn out like that. You know what I mean? I ended up in AA when I was like court-ordered AA when I was 13, and I get a lot of my material off my family, Appalachian background, alcoholism, drug addiction, that kind of thing. I was more of a vandal that got caught a lot, you know. I'd break into a paint store or something like, you know, you can really make some money off some Porter paint, you know, or something like that. But just stuff like that from my background, and been doing comedy, I guess, 3 years, and got into it ripping on my dad at the kitchen table.
There you go.
You know, and me and my brother were ripping on Dad, and he said, "You guys think you're funny? There's a class at the Funny Bone. You need to get down there." And so I took that class, and I've been doing it ever since. You know,
Good,
it's been one of the greatest releases I've ever found.
So you haven't been arrested yet doing any of your comedy, right?
Not yet. I'm hoping. I think that could take my career right over the top, you know.
So when it comes to comedians that you idolize, any particular heroes in mind?
Well, growing up, I mean, it was Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, and that kind of hurt me in the beginning because I didn't know comedy could be clean, you know, especially for like a TV station like this. I just always assumed that it was dirty, you know. So I've been trying to make that turn, getting into more clean type comedy, and didn't even know it existed.
Really?
You know? Not in our family, it didn't. You know, we cuss when we pray, you know. And so it's just it's a neat thing. I was reading Steve Martin's biography and what he went through and all the comedians go through.
Good.
You know, it's tough.
Great.
It's tough, but it's fun. It's the greatest buzz I've ever had.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for being on the Local
Thanks
Comedy
for
Project.
having me.
And we look for you on the stage real soon.
Thanks a lot,
All right?
Marcus.
All right,
Take
thanks
care.
a lot. Hey, right now we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come up with our next comedian. This guy is a very, very funny Native American. It's Homer Shadowheart. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Local Comedy Project, where we're working hard to make you laugh. This next comedian is really a diverse comedian. It's probably the only comedian that I know that is like half Native American. This is the only comedian that wishes when you see him at a comedy club that you don't make reservations. Check out Homer Shadowheart.
How's it going? My name is Homer Shadowheart. I am an Indian. That's casinos, not call centers, or the other red meat. You know, my buddy called me up Monday night and he said, "So Homer, you ready for the White Death?" I said, "Yes, since 1492. I was at work last week and this woman slams the phone down, really mad, and she yells, "That is it, I have had it. I don't think you should be allowed to do business in this country if you can't speak the language." I got a little excited. I said, "Damn right, you can't speak Iroquois. You need to get the hell out." So now I'm doing this for a living. But, you know, about a month ago, I was in the hospital. I'd gotten really dizzy for no apparent reason. And I'm still kind of dizzy from it, but they never figured out what was wrong. And all my friends were really supportive, you know, and they're going, "Homer, be careful. Don't fall. Don't fall." And I'm thinking, well, that's great, but where were you guys like 3 years ago when I got arrested for being drunk and disorderly? Nobody said, "Homer, be careful. Don't pee on the cop. Don't pee on the cop." I know a little about being sick. 2006, on my birthday, I was diagnosed with stage 4 bladder cancer. Yeah, 4 days before Christmas, my wife left. Thanks. I got to tell you, the Christmas gift was a hell of a lot better than the birthday present. But you know, it made me appreciate a lot of things about marriage, like always having somebody to talk to, always waking up next to the same beautiful woman every day. But I think the thing that my marriage made me appreciate most was, well, cancer. Yeah, and my wife told me about the time I was diagnosed that she was bi, and I thought, this is great. You know, this will help ease the pain of chemo. Wasn't until Christmas I realized she meant polar. Honest mistake. And we still talk. She actually drunk dialed me about 3 months ago, 3:30 a.m. on a Wednesday. I pick the phone up, she's crying. And she's like, Homer, why do you have to be dying? I said, well, because God hates me, and unlike you, he has a sense of commitment. So I'm dating. The last girl I dated was 20 years younger than me. Yeah, before any of you think you saw me on Dateline, she was 22. It is a little weird, though, dating somebody whose mom is 2 years younger than you, and it's not her stepmom. One day, though, she said, Homer, do you want to play DDR? And I was like, I really wasn't into Dungeons & Dragons when I was a kid, but maybe Dungeons & Dragons Revisited is better. Yeah, not what she meant. I wholeheartedly believe that the Dance Dance Revolution machine should have a sign on it that says anyone over the age of 35 attempting this game should have major medical coverage. All I got was chest pains and 3 days of rain. Sex with her, though, was great. It really was. I mean, it was like running a marathon. It's the only time in my life I wanted somebody else involved in the sex act, but only to give me bananas and water like every 6 minutes. So I do have cancer. I went through chemo, and you know, a lot of people will tell you horrible, nasty stories about chemo. But I got to tell you, I had some really good experiences on chemo. And I'm not saying you should go out and try this as your next recreational drug, because it is a poison. It turns all of your body fluids into a biohazard. You know what it's like to melt your name in the snow? I melted mine in the sidewalk. They saw Shadowheart from space. I met a woman when I was in chemo. We dated for a little while, and that ended abruptly. But it was really nice. The entire time we were dating, not once did she ask me how her hair looked. The best part about it was, I lost enough pubic hair I can date any teacher in the country. Are there any teachers here tonight? Yeah, it's always a guy. Always. So where are you, a priest? My neighbor is 90 years old. She is a cancer survivor, really nice old lady. And I was coming home one night, and she calls me over, and I walk over, and I said, yeah. She goes, Homer, you know God loves you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She says, you know Jesus loves you. And I was like, yeah, I know. She goes, you know Mary loves you. I said, really? Does she have a nice rack? You got to ask. Hey, I want to leave you with this tonight. May the Creator put enough stones in your path that you realize when it's smooth. I'm Homer Shadowheart. Good night.
Welcome back to the Local Comedy Project. I'm your host, Marcus T. And right now I have the famous Homer Shadowheart. How you doing, Homer?
Good, Marcus. How are you?
Doing good. So you were like in a rock band in like the 80s or something like that out in LA, and now you switched to comedy. Why the switch?
Not by choice, actually, but I had a transplant about 10 years ago. And in the process of the transplant, somebody messed up and paralyzed both my arms. So playing bass was kind of not an option anymore. I could still sing, but it doesn't look as good when you can't go.
Okay, okay. So now how do you find comedy versus being in a band? You have more groupies or less groupies?
Less groupies, yeah. Nobody's thrown panties or a bra at me yet. I'm trying to start that trend. Maybe pick out the women in the audience that will throw panties at me. Or really, I don't care. Anybody can throw panties at me.
So when it comes to comedic heroes, I don't know if there's any other Native American comedians. Are there any other in the world doing
The
comedy
Apache
today?
Chief from Super Friends, but he was on one episode, I think. Actually, my influences, a huge influence was Richard Pryor. Okay. 16, I went to see Richard Pryor live, the movie.
Okay.
And just cracked up the entire time. But one of my big favorites is Daffy Duck.
Good old Looney Tunes.
Exactly.
There you go. Some good stuff. So when you do your comedy, you do it from a Native American perspective?
I try to blend the two well because my life has been that. I mean, you know, my dad is white, my mom's Native. So I draw on everything I can.
Okay.
My mom's family is very in touch with our roots, and my dad's family is from Tennessee and is very in touch with the Confederacy. So it made for an interesting upbringing.
Good, good. So is there anything else that you want to say?
If I could, just say, may the Creator put enough stones in your path that you realize when it's smooth.
All right, all right. That was Homer Shadowheart. Right now we're going to take a quick break. More Local Comedy Project coming up. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to Local Comedy Project. I'm your host, Marcus T. Our next comedian is a big man in comedy. I mean, literally, big man in comedy. Check out Ray Price.
All right. What the heck was that? All right, my name's Ray. I'm a geek. I know that because when I walk through automatic doors, I go, psst, just so I can pretend I'm aboard the Starship Enterprise. When people ask me if I want to play golf, I say, awesome, PS2 or Xbox. Because we're not going to play that Mario Golf. That Wii gets me winded. These are the thickest glasses in my Dungeons & Dragons group. Someone tells me they just dropped acid. I run to get the sodium bicarbonate to help clean it up. Don't want that melting through the floor. Elementary school, the other kids would play cowboys and Indians. The cowboys would beat me up because I outsourced the Indians to run my call center. Thank you for calling. Please call again. Woo, 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 woo. My name's Ray. You never seen me on television, but I've tried. I tried to get on that show where people like me compete. What's the name of that show? Last Biggest Loser. I went to the Biggest Loser auditions. The line was huge. It stretched around the block, and there were just 12 of us. They made us wait outside for 6 hours. We got soaking wet. All right, it wasn't raining, but we sweated a lot. It was no fun hanging out 6 hours with a bunch of fat guys. Nobody likes to hang out with fat guys, not even me. Fat guys always smell like fajitas. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Compare our stretch marks? Look, March 2006, Golden Corral, yes. And no matter what, if you got a group of fat guys, you always got that one guy who's going, are you going to finish that? 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 Yes, I'm going to finish that. It's gum. And then I get in and see the producers, and the producers are all upset. They're all cranky and grumpy. They're like, why should we put you on our television show? I had to think fast, so I said, well, I got a good head on my shoulders, and they said, sure, but shouldn't there be a neck up there someplace? I had a neck once, 1969, 3rd grade. I had a neck. Mom dressed me in a shirt and a tie and a sweater vest. I looked like Eric Cartman dressed in a Richie Cunningham costume. Now I just look like Michael Moore met Stephen King. And then I ate them. Both. I think it's these glasses. Can you see these glasses? Can you see these? Because right now, I can't. LensCrafters, glasses in about an hour. Yeah, not when your prescription's +5 Hubble. We don't do telescopes. God, I hate commercials. Like that one, it goes, governments and private banks are liquidating foreclosed property, and then they show a picture of my house. That guy comes on, he says, you need Bowflex. No. That Nautilus bike I bought 3 years ago is doing a perfectly fine job of keeping my clothes off the floor. And then the other one comes on, it goes, Mom, Kool-Aid has 1/3 less sugar than soda pop. No, 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 not if you make it right. It's 2 quarts of water, 1 packet of Kool-Aid, add sugar till it stops dissolving. Not sweet enough, boil the water. All right, that was a supersaturation joke, and if we all hadn't gone to public school, we'd be laughing like crazy right now. But it's not enough to advertise on TV anymore. They've got advertising on 18-wheel trucks. You can literally drive around the city and see this truck. It says Batesville Casket Company. If you smashed into this truck, you'd be home right now. I was driving down the road in my hybrid. That's a car with a gasoline motor and an electric motor. It's like the Olsen twins. One's clean and highly desirable. The other just spits up nasty stuff. I'm driving down the road. I look out my window. 18-wheeler's passing me, and at the very end it says, follow me to the next McDonald's. So I speed up, roll down my window, and honk at the driver. This way, I know a shortcut. Come on, let's go. Time's a-wasting. And then when we get to McDonald's, you know what I see there? They've got old people working behind the counter at McDonald's. Old people with minimum paying jobs at McDonald's. And that really upset me because, you know, I just want my fries. I don't want my fries and a story. Well, I don't need this job, but my son never comes to visit. I'm all alone. I don't get to see my grandkids, so I thought, hey, I'll get out of the house. But I really don't need the money. It's just my rotten son never comes to visit. Just give me the fries. I'll bring the kids over Saturday, Mom. But you got to promise not to dress them like Richie Cunningham, okay? Like this shirt, I dress myself now. I got this one at Hot Topic. You like this? Nice shirt. Yeah. Told my friend about Hot Topic. He said, Hot Topic, isn't that where they sell drugs? They don't sell drugs at Hot Topic. Hot Topic is like a head shop that's been through a 12-step program. Step 2, acknowledge that there is a higher authority, Old Navy. Step 9, make amends. I'm sorry I made fun of you, Spencer Gifts. Another friend said, Hot Topic, that place is evil. Right, like you walk in and there's a cloud of fire and brimstone and Satan appears. Mwah! I'll take the 9-inch nails t-shirt, medium, please. Mwah! All right, you know Satan's going to be skinny. If Satan was fat, no one would want to hang with him. Hell would smell like fajitas. How would Satan torture you? I got this stretch mark when the McRib came back. Are you going to finish that? My name's Ray. Thanks for coming, everybody.
That was Ray Price. That was one of the large guys in comedy. And right now, as part of the Local Comedy Project, we have Ray Price. How you doing, Ray?
How you doing, Marcus? Oh my God, I hope you got a wide-angle lens. I had no idea I was that fat. That's terrible. Oh my God, I gotta do something about that.
So locally, you're known as like the hardest working guy in comedy. So over your course of comedy, how many shows have you think you've done?
I've done about 654 shows, and conveniently, they've mostly been located in restaurants. So I think that's how I keep my figure.
Great, great. And So far as comedy, you do like the geeky stuff. I heard that you're like a Mensa or Ultra Mensa smart guy or something like that.
There was a point in time that I was a member of Mensa, but I stopped going because they do too much socialization and stuff like that. I mean, really, you know, if you're going to be a geek, you got to be a loner, and that's why stand-up comedy is so good for me. I get to get up there on stage, and if you don't like me, you don't like me, and if you do, that's great. But show's over, and that's that.
So when it comes to comedic heroes, what were some of your idols when you were younger?
When I was younger, I guess I really was kind of old school. Jack Benny. Woody Allen, you know, lately I really like Eddie Izzard. And I've been impressed by the comics who do it clean, like even Jeff Jenna here locally.
Oh, good, good, good. So now you're kind of branching from just doing stand-up to some improv stuff. Tell me some more about that.
Well, I've been helping out with some of, one of the founders of improv in Cincinnati, a fellow named Steve Booth, and he's been teaching some classes, and I've been kind of helping on that. You know, as a comedian, you're a comedian, Marcus, you know that you're not going to make a living doing comedy, certainly not in Cincinnati.
So if there's any advice that you want to give to any comedians, what would you tell the comedy world out there today?
Write. Just keep writing. And when things aren't going well, don't take it personally. You can always make it better.
There you go. Well, thanks a lot, Ray. Thanks for being on the Local Comedy Project.
Thank you, Marcus.
I look forward
to
to
you when you're doing a show next time.
All right. I look forward to seeing you on stage soon, Ray. Thanks a lot. All right, now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring up our last comedian after the break. This guy is like one of the oldest guys in comedy in this area today. So stay tuned for Larry Love. Be right back. Welcome back to the Local Comedy Project. I'm Marcus T. And the Local Comedy Project is all about comedians working hard to make you laugh. Now, this next comedian, I believe, is probably one of the oldest comedians in the area. In fact, his son was Jason Robbins, who was seen earlier in the show. So check out this clip from Larry Love.
This is Larry Love hanging out in your neighborhood tonight, man. I'm happy to be hanging, if you know what I mean. I'd rather be home, but hanging's the next best thing. Yeah. Hey, it's hard for me to get out of the nursing home and do these things. First time they let me out since I got the wheelchair basketball team from. Hey, what do you think about our political candidates this time? We got some good ones, don't we? Yeah. Hey, man, the Republicans even got a good one this time. John McCain, man. I think if we're ever going to start another war, he's our man, you know? Yeah, he's been there, done that. I mean, Republicans love to start wars. They just don't know how to end them, you know? Hey, and Barack and Hillary, man, you got to admit, they're excited. They are excited. Yeah. Hey, people ask me all the time, you think this country's ready to elect a black man as president or elect a woman as president? I said it shouldn't be a problem. We elected an idiot as president the last time. Hey, and if Barack makes it as president, I have one question for him, man. If Barack's our president and starts hanging out in Washington with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, will they still call it the White House? Or are they going to try to change the name to Hennessy House? Makes white people nervous, I'll tell you. But I'll say this about it. Hey, Hillary and Barack were arguing about civil rights here a few weeks ago, but you know, that's the neat thing about Democrats, man. They keep that civil rights struggle right out front so we don't forget our history and everything always gets better, hopefully. Republicans, they don't even know there was a civil rights struggle. They don't give a shit. I'm serious, man. George Bush is so stupid, he thinks Burger King is Martin Luther King's brother. That's bad, man. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. You got to admit, George Bush, the Republicans are going to be running against his record, and he's done some great things. Look at Iraq, man. How many presidents you know have been able to start a civil war in someone else's country? Hey, George Bush is the first president to make us all equal. Now everybody's poor. Yeah, hey, George Bush doesn't want gay people to get married, man. I want gay people to get married. I want them to experience the same unhappiness as the rest of us. Hey, and George Bush, man, you got to admit he's had gas prices up to $3.50, $3.60 a gallon. You got to pay before you pump. That makes people unhappy. Doesn't bother me at all. It reminds me of my sex life. I've always had to pay before I pump. And I'll tell you another thing about old George, man. George has been chasing these terrorists for 6, 7, 8 years, man. These terrorists are crazy. They believe if they blow themselves up for Allah, they're going to get 70 virgins. I don't know about you, I ain't killing myself for 70 virgins. But you tell me I'm going to get 70 nymphomaniacs when I die, and I'll blow myself up on this stage right now. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, something you're never going to see, man, talking about terrorists. You're never going to see a black suicide bomber. Black people don't commit suicide, man. Black people are actually happy people unless some white person pisses them off. We're the ones that ain't happy, man. White people commit suicide all the time. When a white man gets depressed, he kills himself. When a black man gets depressed, he kills his neighbor. I'll tell you something else, too. My favorite president was Bill Clinton, man. I love that guy. I love Bill Clinton, man. Hey, he had so much fun in the Oval Office, he talked Hillary into running. And I'll tell you this about Bill, man. When Bill was in office, he believed in love, not war. He was in office 8 years and only shot 1 missile. And that missile exploded right on Monica Lewinsky's dress. Almost took his presidency down, man. It was tough. Hey, I wanted to talk about my kids for a little bit. I love my kids. I did the best I could with them. I had 3 of them. But my kids, they got arrested so much, the Cincinnati Bengals tried to draft them. Hey, a lot of our neighbors made their money by turning my family into Crime Stoppers. Yeah. Now the shoe's on the other foot, though. My own kids and my grandchildren did one of those interventions on me about 10 days ago. It had nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. It was about the porno I was watching on the computer. I thought I'd erased everything. Some of those movies even embarrassed me, man. Hey, some of these movies were so nasty, even the computer caught a virus. The computer's not working anymore. They blamed that one on me. But I'm going to tell you this, it didn't affect me. I was practicing safe sex the whole time I was watching those movies. I'm fine, man. But they wanted me to go to a psychiatrist because they thought I was sick. So I did. After 3 sessions, the psychiatrist came back, met with the family. They said, he's not sick, he's a pervert. There's a difference, man. A sick man wants to be cured. I'm a happy pervert. Thank you. That's it from Larry Love tonight.
That was Larry Love. I mean, this guy is fantastic. He's one of the oldest comedians working in our area right now, and he's a very funny guy. In fact, we have him on the Local Comedy Project. How's it going, Larry?
Good, Marcus. Good. Happy to be here.
So now you're 60-something years old, right?
No, 59, guy. Don't take me up there.
So don't you think this is a little late to be starting your comedy career?
Actually, no. I'm having a good time hanging around with the young people, and you know, I got a different perspective than the younger comics, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, now when you say a different perspective, you're known for your urban perspective, but how can you relate to that being that you're just an old white guy?
Well, I grew up in the inner city, you know, and I've got a lot of material that just works. I know the people, and I love those shows, you know.
Well, good, good, good. So the thing about it is now, did you talk Jason into doing it like he was saying earlier, or how did that come about, Jason Robbins?
Well, they were making fun of me in the kitchen about my stomach getting a little large, and I dialed down the Funny Bone to see if they needed some funny guys, and that's how it got started. I went and watched him on his graduation night, and he had a great night, and I decided to start it myself. So we do a lot of shows together at bars and sometimes at comedy clubs.
Oh, good, good. So when it comes to comedy heroes, what are your comedy heroes?
I would say my favorite one was Richard Pryor, and like my son said, I didn't know there was clean comedy because I don't watch it. I watched Richard years ago, you know, and thought about being a comic back then, but then spent most of my time raising my dysfunctional children, you know, which gives me a lot of my material, by the way. Right now, I like, you know, some of the, Cedric the Entertainer is one of my favorites, so that's really what I enjoy.
Great. So the thing about it, what do you find challenging, just being that you're doing urban comedy and you're doing it from a senior citizen's perspective? What are some of the challenges that you come upon when you do shows like maybe at the Funny Bone or Go Bananas?
Well, a challenge on Urban Night on Tuesday at Funny Bone is just going on and coming off without getting shot sometimes. Yeah, it's a very challenging show there. Funny Bone or Go Bananas is different, but I just enjoy going out and doing my material in front of all crowds and getting the laughs. You know, it is a high, really, you know.
So do you have any advice out there for any of our viewers who would think about doing comedy?
Start younger. Start younger, you know. You got more time. It takes some time to make it in this business, you know. As funny as you can be, you still got to be able to get on stages, and it takes some years. So if you're going to try it, I would start right out of the box, you know. If you think you're funny and you've got confidence, start right then, you know.
So when it comes to material, you do like clean material, you do dirty material. Is it one material easier for you to write than the other?
Well, the only clean material I've done is for this show to get on TV. You know, we had to. But, you know, I write dirty material and live that life, so to speak, you know. And clean material is a challenge. Now that I've tried it, I've watched some shows on TV, and I'd really like to get cleaner, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, good, good. And you're thinking about really, even though you're almost 60 years old and it's going to probably take another maybe 5 years in the business, you're willing to take that time to become what, an established comedian?
Yeah, yeah, it's worth it. It's that much fun. There's a lot of money in it if you can get to the top, and you just got to hope that somebody notices you and you move quick, you know.
Okay, well, good. Well, Larry, I want to thank you for being on a local comedy project. And what we try to do in a local comedy project is we always try to work hard just to make you laugh. And the thing is the next time that we're on, definitely check us out. Or do me a favor, go out to any comedy show, no matter where it's at, go out and laugh. That's what the local comedy project's about, working hard to make you laugh. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.